Hey guys, welcome to day 16 of my carnivore diet. Um, and I wanted to cover some things for sure today. I'm going to try to keep this fairly short. I say that all the time, but this is my daily diary. Welcome to it if this is the first video you're seeing of it. But guys, I've had so much good comments and participation and support. I mean, it's been awesome. I'm telling you. Hopefully I won't get emotional like I did recently. But it's hard not to when going through something like this and then having the support that you guys have been so good. I'm telling you. So I do want to cover some recent either like tips or conversations that I've had in some of um the comments. I always like to bring those out. I don't like to just have them just in the comments. I do try to bring them into the videos. So sometimes people don't go into the comments, and I want them to also hear some of these tips and things like that. And if I missed a tip or I missed something, you can always remind me in the comments, and I'll try to get it into the video. And I also want to of course, let you guys know what I ate today and how I felt. And I'm sorry if I got this video out late. I'm recording this at like 3:30 in the morning. So technically it's going into day 17, but when I normally record, I actually was very busy before my next job. I just got home from my second job. So I wanted to definitely make sure I did day 16 and let you guys know. So this truly is the end of day of 16 for sure. And, getting into day 17. And I'm going to do the 17 one hopefully after dinner tomorrow, like I normally do. All right, so hopefully we'll get back on that schedule, but I didn't want to skip a day. Okay, so let's get into a couple things that I was hearing in the chats. And if I don't mention your name, I'm sorry. It's just I'm kind of getting to that point. You guys have been so good and so many, and you guys know who you are. You're some of you are just being the normal regulars, and you're being awesome. You're giving me tips and talking and communicating. And then there's some new people that pop in, and you guys are awesome. And I try to respond every single one of you, at least to tell you thanks or click like on a few of them. But if I see something again, all right. So one of them was talking about runny egg yolks. The only reason I want to bring this up now, I personally, since I was a child, I've always loved over medium eggs. I love the yolk runny in the middle, and I love the whites cooked. Okay. As a kid, one of my favorites was, having that medium egg and then being able to break open the yolk and dip my toast into that yummy, like buttery toast dipped into egg was so great back in the day, right? Farmer's breakfast and things like that. I grew up out in the country. So it was really good. But I love the egg. Not so much the bread. Like we're giving that up, right? Anyways, and somebody in the comments had told me that I guess they might have been eating their eggs maybe over hard or something. I'm not sure, but it sounds like they were cooking the eggs, even the yolks, all the way, and then they were having some, I guess, some stomach type issues or something, and then they tried to make the yolks runny, and it helped. So I just wanted to pass that on verbally to you guys, but it's something that I definitely love. Now I cannot still do runny whites. I had some runny whites the other day. I tried something different one time. I separated the whites and the yolks, but there was still some of that white in that was kind of raw still, and I can't do it. I'm sorry, guys. I can't do snotty whites. Sorry, I just can't. The texture and I can't do that yet. So over medium is my way that I'm still gonna keep going. Also, there was a little bit of back and forth talking about McDonald's beef, because remember I did the video or one of the days I had talked about the tip of the McDonald's. I just want to cover again, McDonald's beef, they are required to list the ingredients, and supposedly it's just beef and salt. And Now, some people were talking about restaurants using oils and things like that to cook. One thing I can tell you about McDonald's is if anybody's ever worked at a McDonald's, you know they have these hamburger presses. There's really no oils. There's really no. It's just this grill, and you put the hamburger patties on there. You close it, and it double cooks them very quickly too. So they generally aren't used in any kind of oils. And that grill that they're cooked on, there's really nothing else cooked on it. The only time we used to cook on that grill for anything else was for breakfast stuff, like when we did the eggs and things like that, like in the molds that they had. So as far as I know, the grills, at least at McDonald's, don't get any kind of oil, grease, things like that. It's just the way that they have their stuff set up. So for what it's worth, and like I said, I'm not suggesting that you go and eat McDonald's burgers every single day or something. That was just a tip. If you have to get fast food, because let's face it, in reality, it's nice if we all were able to always be prepped and always have like a carnivore dinner that we can cook and control. But in life, things happen. You get stuck. Sometimes, we've even had times where we've traveled and we expected to be back home that evening, but we had to stay like in another city, like in Knoxville or somewhere where we had to spend the evening, and guess what? We had to eat, so we went out to eat. And so you want to be able to find ways to order. And of course, if it's fast food and you just don't have the time and it has to be quick, that's why I talked about those tips. So I just wanted to tell you that. And again, sometimes people think McDonald's, they think grease with the fries and, just being a restaurant like that. But again, the way that they have their setup, it's to me, contamination is not too big of a deal for me. So I think that's probably going to be your best choice. Okay. Another suggestion was magnesium. Again, I was trying not to do a lot of supplements only because, again, I'm trying to keep it as close to the BBB and E, with the exception of maybe some cheese, like little bits of cheese now. And I'm trying to reduce my cheese as far as like when I was doing those carnivore pizzas, they have quite a bit of cheese. I mean, we're talking anywhere from 8 to probably 12 ounces of cheese altogether. Of course, I wasn't eating the whole thing, but still, it's quite a bit of cheese. And so I am trying to get that down to where if I do have any cheese, it might be like 2 little slices or something, something like that. So, but magnesium was a suggestion. Now, I'm going to try that just because I feel like I'm in a transition phase as well. I have magnesium, I have zinc, I have some different things. I just didn't want to end up doing that daily regimen of a bunch of pills. But I will try magnesium and see how that makes me feel tonight. I'll take one. It's in my cabinet, and I use it quite often, especially when we went through that whole spell of the couth. I had a variety of like magnesium, iron, and I had a cocktail that would just knock it out. Because I didn't listen to the mainstream science, right? That's what, the BS, the political science, as we might call it. So thank you again for the suggestion. I'm going to try it. Okay. And I know for a fact, Rick Manvan, or did I say that right? Anyways, Rick, he suggested that I check out the Old Guy Carnivore. I have not been able to check that out yet. I haven't forgotten about it. That's why I mentioned it right now. So Rick, if you watch this video tonight, know that I am going to get to it. Okay. And so I guess it's called Old Guy Carnivore, and it's supposed to be like inspirational. So, hey, I definitely want to check that out. So that's just some of the recent stuff that's been in my in my chats. Um, there's been a few other little, I think, tips. Again, keep in mind right now in this first 90 days, I'm not trying to do a whole lot of extra stuff other than just those. If you look at just beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you know, again, I've incorporated some cheeses and cream, like heavy cream. And that's only because I know that my body does well with those. As far as weight loss, I think that in this last week, those couple carnivore pizzas with the amount of cheese I had probably did start slowing down my progression. So, and then, more and more cheese slices I was having as snacks. So I am going to try to reduce my cheese to minimal. With that being said, we're going to get into what I ate today for day 16. And it does include 2 slices of mozzarella cheese. So I know, but it was one of those situations where, you know, when there's a few extra pieces left over from my family, I didn't want them to go to waste. I didn't really want to put them back in like its own little bag. So, I ate them. Uh, and they weren't very big. They were fairly small. So I just wanted to let you know that. Again, I'm trying to be completely transparent with y'all. In the daytime, though, I want to start with the daytime. Um, I think the night before for work, after the everything from the previous night, day 15 night, I don't think I had any coffee that night or anything. I think it was just ice water. But in the daytime, I took the last bit of pepperoni with me. It was like 12, maybe 12 to 15 of just, they weren't thick cut, just regular pepperoni slices. I had about 12 or 15 left in the container. And I took those to work with me because I was feeling, remember I was telling you guys I've been kind of waking up with a little bit of like almost like hunger in the morning, like when I first wake up. And that's been kind of weird, but then it goes away. Well, I took them with me to work. And then, in the afternoon, I don't think I was really hungry. I think it was more like I saw them in my truck and I was like, hey, they look good. And could be feeling a little afternoon snackish. So I just ate them. So I had about like 12 to 15 slices of pepperoni. And so I did that in the daytime. And then when I came home, I had like a half pound of ground beef left over. And I took and made 4 over medium eggs in butter. Just, not a lot, just a tablespoon of butter. Made the 4 over medium eggs and threw in the actually I put the 4 over medium eggs. This time I kind of slid them on from the pan onto a plate, and then I just threw the leftover, the half pound beef leftover onto the pan, the hot pan, just so it could melt the coagulated fat, and just to reconstitute it back up and get it warmed up. And then I actually drained off some of that excess fat, even though some of it was that bacon I told you I added back in there. I just went ahead because I just didn't feel like having a lot of liquid fat in that way. So I just kind of drained it off and put that on top of the eggs or right next to all the eggs. And then I warmed up 4 halves of bacon, so 2 slices of bacon in the microwave. I warmed them up and I actually put them in for a minute because I wanted to crispen them up just a little extra because I got them fairly crisp in the oven, but they've been in the fridge. So I put them in the microwave for like a minute just to give them that extra crisp that I love. Um, and then I did have a cup of coffee. Um, Probably like a 20-ounce cup, if less. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was a little. It could be 16-ounce cup of coffee, black coffee. It was a mild coffee, and I had that um, when I went to my second job, and I stopped for gas because I always stop at the same place for gas. So I got a black coffee. Did I need it? No, I don't think I did. I have noticed today a surge in energy. I actually had a little more energy today. Um, and since that's the last bit of my food, I wanted to kind of get into how I felt today. And I actually ended up having like two, sort of like two conversations, no, three conversations about the carnivore diet with like three people today. It's crazy. But like, even the one of them that I had during my second job, like a couple hours ago, I'm like telling this person like, hey, and I'm like talking, and I'm like, I got like this energy. I got this almost like I'm on some kind of freaking, and I haven't even had really hardly any coffee. I just noticed, I was like, man, I am like feeling pretty good. I've got some energy. So energy wise, and at work, I didn't feel like I was slow at all or sluggish. I felt pretty good. My day job. So, no bloating. Like I said, I can't think I've really had any bloating in this first 16 days at all. I've been pretty solid. And like I said, barely any gas. All right. So barely any farting. Um, and again, I've really kind of started cutting out a lot of the caffeine, and I'll be surprised I would really feel like I probably would cut out coffee and the unsweet tea and maybe just be water. I've really just enjoyed drinking ice water again, and the when I do have coffee or the unsweet tea, I think it is going through me. I don't know. I'll let you know maybe tomorrow if I was affected by tonight's coffee. But other than that, I've been feeling really good. And that's what I love about this diet. It just you just stay pretty satisfied. I just can't talk enough about it. And it's unfortunate that there's people out there now, some people I talk to, they would do carnivore, they really want to do it, but they live in a house much like mine where their spouse is like, no, you're gonna have a heart attack. And that's like my spouse, I mean, my wife, she and God bless her, I love her to death, and it's just that she's not ready to listen to the truth. She's not ready to take the red pill, so to speak. So for her, it's like she's still under that belief that, hey, fruits and vegetables and all that stuff is the key. And she's even talked about the idea about going vegan almost at times, and I'm like, ugh. But hey, I mean, she's an adult, and I try to respect what she wants to do also. But when I've spent the last 2 years essentially seeing testimonials and debunking videos and blood work videos and all these different things, and then when I hear people talk about some of these things of like, talking about these things like it's some holy thing that these vegetables are these anyways, eat your fruits and vegetables now. I'm sorry, do your research, and of course I probably don't have to tell most of you that, but yeah, thank you again, guys. Thank you so much for the tips. I'm telling you, all that stuff matters. It really does. And you know, it's keeping me going. So I'm not gonna get emotional, but I'm just saying that, listen, for for people like me, I'm very strong willed, like I'm very patient. I have a huge amount of willpower and patience. However, with my food addiction is so deep, and being around it the way I am on a regular basis, it's so tough for me. There's so many times I keep wanting to say, you know what? Let me enjoy the holiday stuff, and then I'll just pick everything back up in January, and we'll do the 90-day challenge then. But The reason why I truly started it right after Thanksgiving is because that was the tipping point. That was when, and I was like, you know what? Let me just jump on the scale. And when I saw that I was back at my heaviest, I knew that by the end of that week, I was going to break that goal. I was going to go over my heaviest point. I'd never been over 315, at least not that I know of. Not that the scale has ever showed me. So that's what I'm saying. For me, it was the tipping point. It's like, if I keep on, I may not make it through December. I don't know. So it was, to me, it's more of survival. Um, so yeah, I feel much better losing weight. I'm excited. I don't know what the Monday weigh-in is going to be, but I'm not so much trying to focus on weight as more of just how I feel. I think the weight will just naturally happen, but the way I feel and how I feel, that's so important to me. All right. Anyways, I've been talking long enough. I hope you guys are still getting some use out of these daily vlogs. I know I'm kind of repeating the same beef, butter, eggs, things like that. There is another recipe I would like to try that's it does require just a little bit of cheese and probably a little bit of cream. But I'm really curious to try this. I really want to see how this is because I don't know. I'm really curious. That's all I'm going to say. And we'll find out. I'll let you guys know first. Or I'll let you know, after I try it, if I succeeded at it. But it's an idea. Now, I want to say this is an idea that comes from the Carnivore Chef. I think that's who it is. Is it the Carnivore Chef? Anyways, it could be the Carnivore Chef. Um, and but oh no, I'm sorry, it's not the Carnivore Chef. It's Chris Cooking Nashville. So if you haven't seen his channel and you're a carnivore, if you're like not being strict, if you're more than just BBBE, if you're, if you allow yourself to have like some condiments and some spices, some things like that, if you're that part of a carnivore, his channel is really good with a ton of recipes that he's got ones that are really imitate like a bun for like a burger. And supposedly this bun is supposed to, taste amazing. He's got these mashed potatoes that he makes out of this concoction that he's had taste tested with his family, and they're all like, "What? This isn't potatoes." So apparently he makes some really good copycat foods that are like carnivore / keto friendly. But unfortunately he does a lot of things that I don't want to do right now. So his recipe that I'm going to be trying probably tomorrow, I'm modifying it a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to use a little bit of mozzarella, and I'm actually going to add a little bit of a splash of cream to kind of substitute for something else. And I'm going to kind of omit a few spices that he uses. I'm going to add salt. It's going to be a balance, and it's going to be sort of my take on his recipe, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to give Chris Cooking Nashville the shout out for this, but we'll see. I'm going to try it. We'll see how it goes, and I'll let you guys be the first ones to know. And if I can, maybe I'll do some video and pictures to show you how they came out, and maybe, that type of stuff. Anyways, this video has been getting pretty long tonight. So, thank you all so much again. And remember, we will see you tomorrow. And I got to get my butt in bed. It's almost 4 in the morning. So I still got to try to render this and get this uploaded. So anyways, you guys have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.